since it is rather well known, at least those that are fans of the podcast, that Personalized Fitness hires only individuals that actually have a degree in the field. Don't want you to think that we are not involved with the education of the future. And nowhere is that more notable than in our internship program. And today, we have our youngest intern on as a guest with us, our freshman kinesiology student, Miss Sallie Herndon, today on the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast.
Welcome to the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast
with Garrett Williamson.
Health, wellness, exercise, nutrition, and a whole lot more. Got questions? Call us and leave a message at 251-278-EDGE or message us at Personal Edge Fitness on Facebook and Instagram, at Team PE on Twitter, or personaledgefitness.com.
Hey, good day, and welcome to the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast. My name is Garrett Williamson. I'm president of Personal Edge Fitness. Thank you so much for joining the podcast today. And I want to first welcome our guest today, Miss Sallie Herndon. Sallie, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
You sure about that? You sure you mean that?
Yeah. A little nervous, but it'll be okay.
I think you'll do fine. You'll do fine. You know all the subject matter. It's all about you. So it'll be easy.
I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing.
Before we get into talk to Sallie about her internship here, I want to tell you how to get in touch with the show in case you have any questions about this podcast or any others that we've done, or if you have a question about dispelling the myths of health, fitness, and wellness. Please contact us, area code 251-278-3343. That's 251-278-EDGE. You can also reach me at Garrett, Garrett, at personaledgefitness.com. That, of course, also is our website address, and Personal Edge Fitness is our Facebook page. Hit me up on X at Team PE if you are so inclined. Our internship program, something that we've had for over 20 years now, but you're a first. Believe it or not, we've done this 20 years, but you're a first. We've got it set up with about 4 different universities. We're working on a few others. In fact, we just got an agreement from one this past weekend. It's something that's very near and dear to our heart, but you are a first, and I'll get into why in just a minute. But let me ask you first, why did you choose this field?
So I guess just going into college, I wasn't prepared. Because everyone was like, oh, growing up, they're like, oh, I want to be this, I want to be this. I'm like, I was always just, I have no clue.
Right.
Like, I'm pretty average at everything. I'm not like a really good math or really good science. I'm just like, I'm pretty good at everything, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
Average grades at everything. But since I grew up being a swimmer,
yeah, and
that surrounds you with athletics, and then with that came injury, and then me being, as I started talking to physical therapists, chiropractors, athletic trainers, and I just kind of got really interested in that field of things. And I was like, well, since there's so many like job opportunities with this one degree, kinesiology, exercise science, so I was like, I guess I'll go into this and then feel it out, because I know you could be a PE teacher, you could be a coach, you could be a trainer, personal trainer, athletic trainer, physical therapist. Like, it's such a broad degree.
No, very much so.
So you can really do anything with it.
On top of that, the opportunities just in the health field alone are amazing. In fact, we had a gentleman come speak to our Vistage group talking about what to invest in, and water was one of the things. But number one or number two was healthcare. And so, their jobs abound as far as that goes. So
yeah. And
I said you're first out of 20 years we've had multiple trainers. I don't know if you know this, but Josh, who's the intern coordinator, you know why, don't you?
Wasn't he an intern here?
Yeah, he was an intern. He was the first intern we ever hired.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
That's funny.
So in fact, he finished his internship and was going to graduate like the next week. The day after his graduation, he came and signed with us. He's been with us ever since.
That's funny.
And now one of our directors, which is why we have him run the internship program.
He's used to it.
Very much so. Very much so. And there's a reason why you're a first. I'll get into that in a second. How did you hear about Personal Edge? How did you get involved? I kind of know the answer to this question.
Yeah. You were there for it. So, so as I said, I was a swimmer growing up since I had been doing like competitive year-round swim since I was 9.
Oh, wow.
And it had become such a big part of my life. It was around freshman, sophomore year when I really got into it.
Right.
Like looking at colleges, deciding if this is what I wanted to do.
Sure.
And then my coach at the time, he was like pushing, like getting better, pushing yourself more. And so me and my good friend Clark Doyle,
yes,
we decided, we asked our parents if we could do like extra workouts.
Sure.
Since we know that like the really like top athletes in swim were doing this. They were doing extra workouts. We were already swimming over 18 hours a week. So
exactly,
we were working out plenty.
Right.
But we just wanted that extra push just to get more weight on the bar just to get a little bit stronger, a little more muscle, just to give us like the little bit more of an advantage than other competitors.
Right.
So we started working out at 5 a.m. every other day.
Right.
Because we had morning practice on Tuesday, Thursday at 5 a.m. And then we worked out here Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 5 a.m.
Right.
And so that was my experience. It was the whole building was completely empty except for us and our trainer.
Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes it was used, sometimes it was.
Yeah, we actually worked with several of them, but I know Lindsay trained you, worked with y'all a good bit. And of course, I remember the 5 a.m.s that we did.
Yeah.
So a former client, which is wild, but I keep saying you were the first, you're the first, you're the first. The reason I say that is that you're the first freshman intern we have ever had. And I started this off with the intro talking about the fact that we don't hire anybody that doesn't have a degree in the field. But it doesn't mean that we're not dedicated to the education of the future. And actually, I think your parents got a good example of my concern for that.
Yes, yes.
I have to before you may tell their side of it. I'm not sure I want their side told. But ran into your folks out at dinner one night and asked how you were doing, and they said you were in kinesiology. And I think, the way I described it is I basically assaulted your mom and told her, by all means, have her come do an internship. And then you reached out a couple months before you would have been able to start and talk to us about coming down here. So we're really glad to have you, and I'm glad you're starting, and more than glad to have you as a freshman because of what you just said a minute ago. As so many people get into to school, and you said you really didn't know what you wanted to do.
No.
You just had an interest in this area.
It was either kinesiology or going the Auburn way, I guess, with their new undecided major for freshman and sophomore.
Right.
But I just really felt that like I could find a career that I liked in this specific degree without knowing exactly what I wanted to do.
I may have already told you this, so pardon me. If you haven't seen me repeat myself yet, you haven't been paying attention. But you were saying about being undecided, and so many students when they go to college are undecided. I thought I was decided and drastically changed. Just a slight pivot from political science and acceptance to law school to exercise science.
Just a slight.
Just a slight. Real close together there.
Yeah.
But I actually didn't figure out my career until my mentorship in my master's degree. That's why I actually figured it out. That's why we've had such a passion for doing the internship program. And, you getting an opportunity to see what this part of the degree does. So, late on the line, it's perfectly fine. How is it so far?
It's actually really good. It's different than I expected. I don't know what I was really expecting going in because I've never done an internship before. Like, I knew there was going to be the parts where it's like cleaning and getting people things, but like I was excited for that because I love cleaning.
Okay.
So.
Well, we're really glad to have you then.
Which is like such a strange thing for someone to say, but it's a thing for me. But then just like learning and seeing like the connection between trainers and clients.
Right.
It feels more like a family environment than I thought it would be. Like I thought it would just be like, oh, how was your weekend? It was good. And then just
counting reps after that. Yeah.
But it's like people know each other. They know what's going on in their lives. They see each other outside of workouts sometimes. And it's just not what I really expected because I've never really been a part of that environment before. Well, because I was here. I didn't know anyone else who worked out here.
Well, not only that,
it was 5 a.m.
5 a.m.
So I didn't see anyone else except for Clark and my trainer, and that was it. I wasn't a part of it. Yeah. But a lot of clients here, they form bonds with other clients and other trainers. So it's just really nice to see like the connection between people.
I promise you I didn't pay her to say that at all, but
I'm not getting paid, guys.
Exactly. See, everybody who's a fan of the podcast know that warms my heart for you to say that because that's the lifeblood of our brand comes first and then it's our culture. And our culture is why people are here and why they stay here. Kudos to you for picking up on that, and it means a lot to me that you did pick up on that. So far you've only been at this for maybe a month, if that. What are kind of the varieties, don't mention names of clients, but varieties of types of training or situations or special conditions, or what have you been able to work with so far?
Well, there's different middle-aged people. They usually have like the same sort of workouts. And then there's a couple older individuals who like I've noticed like they use certain machines with them and they go one exercise at a time. Right. So you don't have to like move back and forth, but they do that for other clients. It's like rounds. And then for more elderly. I
know what you mean.
It's
Definitely.
more of like a set of this machine and then we move to a set of a different machine.
Right.
So it's like we don't have to move as much walking wise. It's more so just exercise. Yeah. And then you've got athletes or
Right.
younger individuals. The thing that surprised me was when he was like 8 or 9 coming in and doing like athlete workouts for baseball. And I'm like, you are 9 years old. Like, what is the sports industry now with such young kids getting into this so young? And I'm like, kudos to you. I just don't know how you do it. Because I see you're like tiny and you're a baby. But you're coming in and you're grinding out these workouts, getting ready for baseball season. And it blows my mind sometimes because I just forget, like, I'm not a kid anymore. Like, that was me, but I was a freshman. I wasn't 9. But still, like, I was up at 9 a.m. as a freshman, sophomore, coming here and working out for swim.
Right.
There's just completely different levels of fitness here.
Very much so. And what's interesting about that, and you and I haven't talked about the consult, but you went through one years ago, and I don't know if you remember it, but you most likely met with me. And
sat in your office.
Sat in our office, exactly. And if you remember in that consult, so I want to say either both of y'all were here or you were here, and one of your parents may have been here.
Me and Clark were both here.
Okay.
Don't think my parents were here.
Okay, because I don't remember. It's been a few years now. We'll meet with athletes. We'll meet with, and when we have somebody that young, 8 or 9 years old, we're of course meeting with their parents too.
Yeah.
And we've had high schools, teenager, even collegiate kids come in here with their parents, which is perfectly fine. But if you remember, and in yours it's easy because I was talking to just you and Clark, but in that consult with the parent and like a 9-year-old, we will at some point in time, and we let the parent know this, that we're going to turn the conversation straight over to the athlete. And then we're going to flat out, I don't care what mom or dad's told me, we're going to flat out ask them, what do you want? What are you looking for? And we don't bring anybody in that it's mom or dad pushing them because it's not their program. And like you did, you asked your folks, hey, we want some extra training. And that's how you made your own decision to come in and what have you.
Yeah.
And I saw you doing the impromptu cardio session.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
That was awesome. That was fantastic.
I drew inspiration from when we were outside repping those tire runs and tire flips. And I was like, I think she'd like these tire runs. Let's give it a go. And then and I just started doing it with her. We were just having a good time. Cause
awesome.
I mean, I asked her, she was like, I don't play sports. I'm just here with my grandmother, like having a good time. And I was like, okay, then let's have a good time.
Right. I hope she enjoyed it. She came in, looked like she had a good workout. So.
She was breathing heavy. She needed to come get water. She was red faced, so I feel like I did pretty good. Wear her out. Maybe she'll give her grandmother a little bit of a break because I know having an 8-year-old is
a handful.
It's a handful.
Yeah, and then some. Have you had that opportunity to do that with any of the other athletes? Have you been able to do some of that yet?
Okay. I have sent in like my different circuits, I guess endurance circuits, to Josh and Charlie, and they're going to review them. And then
good.
They said like if athletes, like younger ones that can't drive, like if they're waiting for their parents to come pick them up, then I'll just run them through that real quick instead of them going and like walking on the treadmill for 30 minutes. Obviously.
That's what we love about our internship program. Yes. Is there towel folding? Is there cleaning equipment? Is there getting water for clients? Yes, there is. We've had interns that have come through and they're just checking a box. And then we have interns like yourself, you're doing this as a freshman. This isn't a requirement for school, and in fact, I don't even think you're getting credit for this, are you? And so you have an interest in the field. And those that really take an interest and are excited about their internship, really want to learn, that's when we open the door. And we try to let you do as much as we possibly can. We've actually had interns that were now they're in their senior year and they're a semester or so from finishing. We had them actually sub in for trainers when they were out of town. And do that. So something to look forward to, and hopefully come back next summer. and the summer. So please answer this honestly. Seeing what you've experienced as far as personal training is concerned, is this still on the table?
It's definitely still on the table. I have thought about it a lot since starting. One thing I do want to consider is like I guess it might just be because I'm still young, but I relate more to young people.
Right.
So it's like with personal training here, there's a lot more middle-aged, older individuals wanting to be in shape or get into shape.
Sure.
And less of athletes. And I feel like I feel more connected to athletes since I've been through that.
Of course.
But I mean, it's starting to grow on me. Like having conversations about what we had for dinner last night or different restaurants in Mobile, like with these older individuals, like and talking about like TV shows we watch. And like I can relate to them as well because I'm like in that weird range between kid and adult. So it's kind of confusing sometimes. But I understand. That's why I've looked also into athletic training.
Sure.
Because I relate to the athletes as I was one.
Right.
And I want to bring them relief. But then with personal training, it's more so it could be athletes, making athletes stronger, making people in their day-to-day lives like stronger.
Sure. I will say that a lot of our athletes come in at a time when you can't come here, which is an afternoon. But it's not the bulk of our business by any means. You may not be surprised to learn this, but almost every trainer, the majority of them, and I say this not just because of my own experience, but as far as me as a personal trainer, I see this because of the hundreds of potential trainers that I've interviewed. How many of them, they go through their degree and that's where they're headed. They're going to work with athletes. They're going to work with athletes. And then eventually go through some of what you're going through. Not all of them, but a lot of them, and especially the trainers that work here, go through what you went through about, hey, this is kind of neat working with, the middle-aged and the senior clientele. And one thing I will say, though, that you were talking about earlier about the differences in the workouts. And, depending on the ability, we'll slow it down, we'll speed it up, and also we're fitting it towards their head. But when you were saying, you were trying to find a politically correct way, which I appreciate, of saying that, elderly clients, whatever. And at the same time, I can mention one name to you, that would be completely opposite of what you were saying, the slow one exercise at a time. I can mention the name Beth to you.
Oh, yes.
And that particular individual is well in her 80s. So it is ability, which
and
is kind of
she's doing
neat,
workouts that I would probably do as well. So it's just... It's amazing to see what she can do.
Yeah, definitely. And she's not the only one. I mean, Marion just got finished with her Antarctica marathon. She's running a marathon in every single state. So we have a variety of that also. So
who was the runner? Oh, her brother works at owns B&B Pet Shop.
Yeah. Actually, Mary and Bill, they don't mind us talking about here, but Bill Trufant's owner of B&B Pets. Mary actually works there also. She's one of the owners, as a matter of fact, of B&B Pets. Yeah, but about Mary.
When I first met her, you could tell she's a runner.
Yeah,
she's got running shoes, running clothes. Yeah. She's got the hat on.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
She's an aggressive gum chewer. I've noticed a lot of runners are vigorous gum chewers. I don't know why. Because I can't run. To save my life, I cannot run. I mean, that's just been from birth. Right, I've never been a runner. I was a swimmer.
Right, exactly.
Different.
And a sprinter at that.
A sprinter. So I was not in the endurance category of any athletics per se. Sure. But to hear she ran the Boston Marathon. She travels for running. She runs 10 miles a day. And I'm like, and she's in her early 60s.
Yes, exactly, in that territory.
And I'm just baffled with how her body can still do that and how she's just it's whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like,
exactly.
That's amazing. That is you should be yelling that across everywhere. I run marathons.
Yeah.
I'm better than you. I can run marathons. And when people are like, "Oh, marathon's not even that hard," I can't run a mile. I don't know how you do that. It's incredible.
Well, taking those experiences, there's just a few people we've mentioned. Those aren't all of them by any means. What I challenge you to do is hang on to the memory of those and the experiences you learn here as you go through your courses, and especially when you listen to some of your professors speak to you. No offense, I don't know any of them, and I know Auburn has a very good program, and their Warrior Athletic Training program is fantastic also. But you run into this in dietary, and you run into it with exercise, and that is you've probably heard me speak about it. It's what I call the lie of age, the ridiculous concept that time passing on a calendar automatically causes deterioration. There's not one, you won't come across one. There's not one clinical study on the face of the earth that proves that's true. Yeah. It's all dictated by 4 things: fitness, nutrition, lifestyle, and the most important, which is mindset. Look at the mindset of Beth. Look at the mindset of Mary. Mary's like, oh, I don't know if I can do another marathon. Mary's like, I'm not sure which marathon I'm going to do next. And Beth has never questioned whether or not she's going to get through a workout. She just wants to know if she can take it to another level. But in your studies, make sure that you don't have anybody try to pigeonhole you into that. At this number, everything changes, because it doesn't whatsoever. So any parting comments on this, what have you? So you ready to complain to me about the problems you've had here?
No, there's no problems. The only problem I could say is just me having to wake up, but that's a me problem, honestly. I've done it before, so I can do it again.
You made your 5 a.m. workouts without a problem.
Yeah, so I've been up at 4:30, but plenty of times, so 6 is not bad.
No, definitely. I'm sure you can make that. So, well, thank you. Seriously, thank you for coming here and doing this, for not only doing the podcast, but coming here and doing the internship. We'll talk a lot more as you go through it. I do really hope it helps you in making your decision. Yep. And as you go on, I mean, like I say, we're just a freshman now. I don't mean to say that way, but
I'm a sophomore now.
Okay,
I'm going into sophomore year.
You're a sophomore, that's right. So, but if you do stay interested in this area, we're really glad to have you back, especially after your graduation.
Yes.
Really glad to have you back.
That's why my trusty notebook, I'm keeping everything written down,
Awesome.
my plans and everything.
Exactly. You've been a very good student of that. I've noticed.
Jonathan, the other, is he
contract
an intern?
intern, yeah.
He goes, "You're writing so much stuff." I'm like, yeah, like I can't remember things, so I feel like I need to write it down.
Yeah.
Because we do written observations at the end of the week. I'm like, if I didn't write anything down, I would be lost. I wouldn't remember anyone's name. I wouldn't remember anything about them. Like, that's another thing that surprises me about people is that they can remember everything.
Yeah.
I have to write this down. I need to catch up.
It'll come, I promise you. I started out with a pad when I first started training until it became natural and what have you. And I will say, that book's going to be extremely valuable. Hang on to it with all the notes that you've taken.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate you joining us too.
Me.
Listen, if you have any questions about our internship program, or if you have an interest in it, or anything else on the show, please contact me at area code 251-278-3343. That's 251-278-EDGE. You can also reach me at personaledgefitness.com. Also on our Facebook page, Personal Edge Fitness. Hit me up on X at Twitter X or Twitter at Team PE. Get those confused every once in a while.
It's Twitter X.
Let's go with that way. Everybody understands both of them. So this is our dedication to education. I learned what I wanted to do through the internship program, which is why we offer those, and why not only are we helping our clients with some of the extra work they're doing with our interns, but also educating the next generation. Just one more way we help you reach your level of wellness. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast with Garrett Williamson. Subscribe now and be a part of the show by calling 251-278-EDGE or message us on Facebook and Instagram at Personal Edge Fitness or at Team PE on Twitter, and visit us at personaledgefitness.com.